What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors comes face to face with a host who refuses to let him speak? In just 36 seconds, one question would turn a friendly interview into an absolute disaster that nobody saw coming. Denzel Washington walked onto the View set that morning, expecting a normal conversation. The audience clapped as he made his way to the table, smiling and waving. He'd been on talk shows 1,000 times before. This was supposed to be easy. Just another day promoting his new film, shaking hands, telling stories, and heading home. But what he didn't know was that Joy Behar had other plans. The interview started off smooth enough. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed him warmly, asking about his latest project. Denzel talked about the hard work that went into the film, the dedication of the cast, and what the story meant to him. The audience loved it. Sunny Hostin jumped in with a question about his preparation for the role, and Denzel gave a thoughtful answer about studying the character for months. Everything was going perfectly fine. Then Joy Behar leaned forward. "So Denzel," she said, her voice cutting through the conversation, "I want to talk about something more important than movies." Denzel nodded politely. "Sure, what's on your mind?" "Your faith," Joy said. "You talk about God a lot. You bring up religion in interviews. Don't you think that's a bit much for someone in Hollywood?" The table went quiet. Whoopi shifted in her seat. Sunny's smile faded. Sarah Haynes looked down at her notes. Alyssa Farrah Griffin's eyes went wide. Denzel kept his composure. "My faith is important to me," he said calmly. "It's guided me through my entire life and career. I don't think that's too much at all." Joy laughed. Not a friendly laugh. A dismissive one. "But come on," she said. "You're an actor. You're in Hollywood. Don't you think all that God talk alienates people? I mean, not everyone believes in fairy tales." The audience gasped. You could hear it ripple through the studio. Whoopi's jaw dropped. "Joy," she said quickly, trying to step in. But Joy wasn't done. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking," she continued. "We live in a modern world. Science exists. We don't need ancient stories to tell us how to live." Denzel took a deep breath. His expression didn't change, but you could see something shift in his eyes. "With all due respect," he said, his voice still calm but firmer now, "my faith isn't a fairy tale. It's what's kept me grounded. It's what's helped me raise my children. It's what's made me who I am." Joy waved her hand like she was swatting away a fly. "That's great for you," she said, "but pushing it on other people? That's where I draw the line." "I'm not pushing anything on anyone," Denzel replied. "I'm simply living my life according to my values, just like you live yours according to yours." "Yeah, but my values don't involve make-believe," Joy shot back. That's when Sunny spoke up. "Joy, maybe we should move on to another topic," she said carefully. Joy turned to Sunny. "Why? Because I'm asking real questions? Someone has to." Alyssa tried next. "I think what Denzel is saying is that faith is personal," she offered, "and we should respect that." Joy rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. If we're going to respect everything everyone believes, then where does it end? Should we respect people who believe the earth is flat too?" The audience was stunned into silence. Whoopi put her hand on Joy's arm. "Joy, come on now." But Joy pulled her arm away. "No, Whoopi, I'm tired of tiptoeing around this stuff. We sit here and pretend like every belief system is valid, but some of them are just outdated nonsense." Denzel sat back in his chair. He hadn't raised his voice once. He hadn't gotten angry, but you could see him processing what was happening. This wasn't a debate. This was an attack. "Joy," he said quietly, "I came here to talk about my film, to share something I worked hard on. I didn't come here to be insulted." "Insulted?" Joy said, her voice rising. "I'm not insulting you. I'm challenging you. There's a difference." "No," Denzel said, shaking his head. "Challenging me would be asking thoughtful questions and listening to my answers. What you're doing is mocking what I believe in. That's not a challenge. That's disrespect." Joy leaned back and crossed her arms. "So now I'm disrespectful because I don't agree with you?" "You're disrespectful because you called my faith a fairy tale and make-believe," Denzel said. "You can disagree with someone without belittling them." The other hosts were frozen. Whoopi looked like she wanted to disappear. Sunny kept glancing between Joy and Denzel. Sarah was staring at the table. Alyssa looked genuinely uncomfortable. Joy wasn't backing down. "Well, maybe if you didn't bring up God every 5 minutes, we wouldn't be having this conversation." "I was asked about my preparation for this role," Denzel said, his patience clearly wearing thin. "And part of that preparation involved prayer and reflection. That's my process. I answered the question honestly. And I'm responding honestly," Joy said. "I think it's ridiculous. That word, hung in the air. Ridiculous. Denzel stared at her for a long moment. Then he did something no one expected. He reached up and unclipped his microphone. "What are you doing?" Joy asked. "I'm leaving," Denzel said simply. Whoopi jumped in immediately. "Denzel, wait. Please, we can move on. Let's talk about the movie." But Denzel was already standing up. "I've been in this industry for over 40 years, he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've been interviewed thousands of times. I've been asked hard questions. I've had people disagree with me. But I have never, ever been treated with such blatant disrespect." Joy scoffed. "Oh, come on, you're being dramatic." "Am I?" Denzel said, turning to face her directly. "You invited me here. I took time out of my schedule to be on your show. And you used that as an opportunity to attack my faith, to mock my beliefs, and to tell me that what I hold most sacred is ridiculous. How is that not disrespectful?" The audience started murmuring. Some people were nodding. Others looked shocked. The cameras kept rolling. Sonny spoke up again. "Denzel, I apologize on behalf of the show. That wasn't fair to you." "Thank you, Sonny," Denzel said. "I appreciate that, but I can't sit here and pretend this is okay." Joy stood up now too. "So, you're just going to run away because someone disagreed with you?" Denzel turned back to her. "I'm not running away. I'm choosing not to participate in something that's turned into an ambush. There's a difference." "An ambush?" Joy said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I asked you a question." "You didn't ask me a question," Denzel corrected her. "You made a statement. You called my faith make-believe. You compared it to believing the earth is flat. You said it's ridiculous. Those aren't questions. Those are insults dressed up as conversation." Alyssa stood up too. "Denzel, please, let's all just take a breath and reset. We can start over." Denzel looked at her kindly. "I appreciate what you're trying to do, Alyssa, but I don't think starting over is going to change anything. The damage is done." Whoopi was standing now as well. "Denzel, I promise you this isn't what we wanted. Joy sometimes gets passionate, but we value you being here." "I understand passion," Denzel said. "I'm a passionate person too. But passion doesn't give you the right to tear down what someone else believes in, especially not on your own show when they're your guest." Joy threw her hands up. "Fine. I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt. Is that what you want to hear?" Denzel shook his head slowly. "An apology that starts with 'I'm sorry if' isn't really an apology. It's just more dismissiveness." The audience reacted to that. A few people even started clapping. Joy noticed, and her face turned red. "Unbelievable," Joy muttered. Denzel placed his microphone on the table gently. "I wish you all the best," he said to the other hosts. "Whoopi, Sonny, Sarah, Alyssa, thank you for trying to keep this civil. I hope you understand why I can't stay." "We do," Whoopi said quietly. "We absolutely do." Denzel started walking toward the exit. The audience was completely silent now, watching this unfold in real time. You could hear his footsteps on the stage. Joy called out after him. "You know what your problem is, Denzel. You can't handle when someone challenges your worldview." Denzel stopped walking. He turned around one more time. "My problem?" he said. "My problem is that I expected to be treated with basic respect, and that shouldn't be too much to ask for." He turned back around and kept walking. Joy wasn't finished. "This is exactly what's wrong with celebrities. They live in their bubbles and think everyone should bow down to them." Sonny cut her off. "Joy, stop, just stop." "What, I'm not allowed to speak now?" "You've said enough," Whoopi said firmly. The audience started applauding as Denzel reached the exit. It started with a few people and then grew louder and louder until nearly everyone was standing and clapping. Not for the show, for him, for walking away with dignity. Joy looked around, realizing what was happening. "Are you serious right now?" she said to the audience. But they kept clapping. Denzel paused at the exit, turned, and gave a small wave to the audience. Not to the hosts, to the people who came to see him. Then, he disappeared through the door. The applause continued for several more seconds. When it finally died down, the studio was left in an awkward, heavy silence. Whoopi tried to salvage things. "We're going to take a quick break," she said to the camera. "We'll be right back." But as soon as they cut to commercial, chaos erupted on set. Producers rushed over. The hosts started talking over each other. Joy was arguing with everyone. Sonny looked upset. Sarah had her head in her hands. Alyssa was pacing back and forth. Backstage, Denzel was already gone. He'd walked straight out of the building, got into his car, and left. No statements, no drama, just a clean exit. Meanwhile, back at the table, the argument continued. "I can't believe you did that," Sonny said to Joy. I didn't do anything wrong, Joy insisted. I asked a legitimate question. You attacked his faith, Whoopi said. There's no way around it. That's what happened. I challenged him, Joy corrected. That's what we do here. We challenge people. There's a difference between challenging someone and disrespecting them, Alyssa said, and what you did crossed that line. Sarah finally spoke up. He's one of the most respected actors in the world. He's been nothing but gracious and kind throughout his entire career, and you made him feel like he had to leave. How do you not see the problem with that? Joy looked defensive. So I'm supposed to just agree with everything our guests say? That's not journalism. This isn't journalism, Whoopi said, her voice rising. This is a talk show. And even if it was journalism, you still have to treat people with basic decency. I was being decent, Joy argued. You called his faith a fairy tale, Sunny said. You compared it to flat earth conspiracy theories. You said it was ridiculous. None of that is decent. Joy went quiet for a moment. Then she said, I don't think I was that harsh. The other hosts just stared at her in disbelief. A producer came over. We need to figure out what we're doing when we come back from break. Do we address what just happened or move on? Whoopi sighed. We have to address it. We can't just pretend that didn't happen. I'm not apologizing on air, Joy said immediately. Then don't, Whoopi said. But I am. When they came back from commercial, Whoopi spoke directly to the camera. Welcome back. As you just saw, our guest Denzel Washington decided to leave. And I want to say that I understand why. Things got heated, and he didn't feel comfortable staying. I respect his decision. Joy sat there with her arms crossed, saying nothing. Whoopi continued. We always want this to be a place where people can share different viewpoints, but that has to come with mutual respect. And I don't think we showed enough of that today. Sunny nodded. I agree, and I want to apologize to Denzel. He deserved better. Alyssa added, we're all passionate about what we believe, but we have to remember that our guests are people too. They have feelings, they have values, and those deserve to be respected. Sarah spoke next. I'm sorry this happened. It's not who we want to be as a show. All eyes turned to Joy. The silence stretched out. Finally, she spoke. I stand by what I said, but I'm sorry if the way I said it upset people. Another sorry if apology. Whoopi closed the segment. We're going to move on now. But I want to thank everyone for watching and for understanding that sometimes conversations don't go the way we plan. The rest of the show was tense. You could feel it through the screen. The chemistry was off. The hosts barely looked at each other. When they finally signed off, there was none of the usual warmth or camaraderie. The walk-off became the only thing anyone could talk about. The video spread everywhere within hours. People picked apart every word, every gesture, every expression. And the overwhelming response was support for Denzel. People praised him for standing up for himself, for not backing down, for leaving with grace and dignity instead of getting into a shouting match. Joy became the villain in the story, not because she disagreed with Denzel, but because of how she did it. The condescension, the mockery, the refusal to see his perspective as valid. People called her out for being disrespectful to a guest, for ambushing someone who came on the show in good faith, for turning what should have been a friendly conversation into a confrontation. Comments flooded in. Joy crossed the line. Denzel handled that perfectly. You don't invite someone on your show just to attack them. This is why people don't trust mainstream media. Whoopi and Sunny tried to stop it, but Joy wouldn't listen. Mad respect to Denzel for walking away. Even people who didn't share Denzel's beliefs defended him, because the issue wasn't about religion. It was about respect. It was about how you treat another human being, and Joy failed that test completely. In that 36-second exchange that started everything, Joy revealed exactly who she was. Someone who valued being right over being kind. Someone who saw disagreement as an opportunity to belittle rather than understand. Someone who believed her platform gave her the right to tear others down. And Denzel revealed who he was too. Someone who wouldn't compromise his values for anyone. Someone who knew his worth and wouldn't accept being treated poorly. Someone who could walk away from a situation without burning bridges or losing his cool. That's what made the moment so powerful. It wasn't about who won the argument. It was about who maintained their dignity. And there was no question about that. Denzel walked off that set with his head held high. He didn't curse. He didn't yell. He didn't insult anyone. He simply stated his case, stood his ground, and removed himself from a toxic situation. That takes strength. That takes character. That takes years of knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone diminish that. Joy, on the other hand, showed that having a platform doesn't make you right. Having strong opinions doesn't make you respectful, and being on television doesn't give you permission to treat guests however you want. The moment became a teaching tool about boundaries, about respect, about how to conduct yourself when you disagree with someone, about knowing when to walk away, about standing up for yourself without being aggressive, about treating people the way you want to be treated, even when you think they're wrong. What happened on The View that day wasn't just a celebrity walking off a talk show. It was a masterclass in self-respect. It was proof that you don't have to accept mistreatment just because someone has a microphone. It was a reminder that dignity matters more than winning an argument. And it was a clear example of what happens when you forget that the person sitting across from you is a human being, deserving of basic decency. Joy Behar made a choice that day. She chose confrontation over conversation. She chose mockery over understanding. She chose being provocative over being respectful. And that choice cost her, not just in public perception, but in what the moment revealed about her character. Denzel made a choice too. He chose self-respect over people-pleasing. He chose boundaries over going along to get along. He chose dignity over staying in an uncomfortable situation, and that choice elevated him even more in people's eyes. In the end, it wasn't about religion or politics or Hollywood or any of the surface-level topics they were discussing. It was about something much simpler and much more important: how we treat each other, how we listen to each other, how we respect each other even when we disagree, and how we respond when that respect isn't given. Denzel Washington walked off The View after a heated clash with Joy Behar, but he walked off as the clear winner, not because he got the last word, but because he never lost himself in the process. He stayed true to who he was from the moment he sat down to the moment he walked out that door. And that's something no amount of airtime or audience applause can manufacture. That's real, that's authentic, that's powerful, and that's exactly why the moment resonated with so many people. Because deep down, we all want to believe that we'd have the strength to do the same thing if we were in his position, to stand up, to speak our truth, to walk away when we're not being treated right, and to do it all with grace. Denzel showed us it's possible, and Joy showed us exactly what not to do.